By the way, I never went to the island. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island.
She posted this. She said, President Trump just attacked me and lied about me. I haven't called him at all, but I did send these text messages today. We will show you those in a moment. She said, apparently this is what sent him over the edge, the Epstein files. And of course, he's coming after me hard to make an example to scare all the other Republicans before next week's vote to release the Epstein files. She says it's astonishing, really, how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out.
Yes, folks, you heard that right. After all these years of so-called unity and strength, the GOP is finally cracking, and it's happening in real time, right in front of our eyes. The Republican Party that claimed it would stand together no matter what is now breaking apart piece by piece, and yesterday was the clearest proof yet. Because for the first time, Republican senators openly defied Trump and sided with Democrats to release the Epstein files. They didn't whisper it, they didn't hide it, they stood on the Senate floor and told Trump no. And that alone sent shockwaves through the entire MAGA world.
In May, Trump tells the FBI, go through the files, look for my name, because he knows it's there. They tell him it's there. In July, this is the best part. Bibi Netanyahu visits the White House for the third time on 7/7/2025. I'm not making this up. Google the timeline. On July 7th, 7/7/25, add 2 + 5. I'm not a numerology guy, but it's a little weird. In his third visit on 7/7 to celebrate bombing Iran, Netanyahu visits the White House, and the day before he arrives, literally the day before, the DOJ announces there are no files, case closed, it's over. Trump, for 3 weeks, engages in damage control. He orders the Speaker of the House to close Congress so they don't get forced by Thomas Massie to compel the release of the files. And now here we are 4 months later after the longest shutdown in history, and we see there are files. Trump's name is all over them. He lied. And now 100 Republicans are going to defect and vote in favor of releasing the rest of the files next week. This is a crisis of Trump's own making. You have no one to blame but yourself. You can't blame your own base for asking you to do what you promised to do. You can't say that your base doesn't see the bigger picture or they're conspiracy theorists. If you played into that for years, which you did, the chickens have come home to roost now. They leaned into this stuff. They promised it. And you could say they bit off more than they can chew. Then you lied brazenly and openly. You tried to trick people. It didn't work. And now the chickens have come home to roost. And here's the issue. This goes to the center of what the Trump revolution is all about. And I've been saying this for weeks and months and years now. The whole idea behind Trumpism, fundamentally, it's an anti-corruption movement.
But here's where things explode even more. Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of Trump's most loyal soldiers, is now pushing even harder, exposing Trump's own secret messages and emails that were quietly sent to her behind the scenes. And trust me, what she revealed is nothing like the strong leader Trump pretends to be. But before we get to MTG's bombshell, you need to see what Trump just cried out on Truth Social, because this meltdown tells you exactly why the GOP is falling apart.
We have some more breaking news tonight. Earlier, we told you President Trump announced he is withdrawing his support for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She has just responded. We want to read you again what President Trump said on Truth Social. He said, I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of the great state of Georgia. Over the past few weeks, despite my creating record achievements for our country, including a total and complete victory on the shutdown, closed borders, low taxes, no men in women's sports or transgender for everyone, ending DEI, stopping Biden's record-setting inflation, the biggest regulation cuts in history, stopping 8 wars, rebuilding our military, being respected by every country in the world, as opposed to being the laughingstock that we were just 12 months ago. Having trillions of dollars, record-setting, invested in the USA, and having created the hottest country anywhere in the world from being a dead country just 12 months ago, and so much more. He says, all I see wacky Marjorie do is complain, complain, complain. He went on to say, it seemed to all begin when I sent her a poll stating that she should not run for senator or governor. She was at 12% and didn't have a chance unless, of course, people that is upset that unless, of course, she had my endorsement, which she wasn't about to get. He said she has told many people that she's upset that I don't return her phone calls anymore. But with 219 congressmen and women, 53 U.S. senators, 24 cabinet members, and almost 200 countries, and an otherwise normal life to lead, I can't take ranting lunatics calls every day, he says. I understand that wonderful conservative people are thinking about primarying Marjorie in her district of Georgia, that they are are fed up with her and her antics. And if the right person runs, they will have my complete and unyielding support. She has gone far left, even doing The View with their low IQ Republican-hating anchors. Trump says, thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again.
How can anyone read that whole thing top to bottom and seriously think this man is fit to be the weekend manager at a car wash, let alone the most powerful man in the Western world? It's unhinged, rambling, paranoid, and somehow still manages to make everything about how he's the real victim while children were being trafficked and abused. He's bragging about imaginary achievements, inventing enemies, and screaming witch hunt like that's a legal defense. And this is the guy they want with the nuclear codes again? But here's the real reason he's crying like this. Because underneath all the ego and all the caps lock tantrums, he knows exactly what's happening. He knows the grip is slipping. Out of 219 House Republicans, only 4, literally 4, are willing to say Congress shouldn't be blocking justice for child sex trafficking survivors. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the loudest MAGA warriors he thought he owned for life, is now on the record saying Congress must release the Epstein files and stop covering for predators. That's why he's melting down on Truth Social. Not because he's strong, not because he's winning, but because for the first time, even inside his own party, people are choosing the truth over protecting Donald Trump.
She posted this. She said, President Trump just attacked me and lied about me. I haven't called him at all, but I did send these text messages today. We will show you those in a moment. She said, apparently this is what sent him over the edge, the Epstein files. And of course, he's coming after me hard to make an example to scare all the other Republicans before next week's vote to release the Epstein files. She says, it's astonishing, really, how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out, and that he actually goes to this level, she says. She went on to say, but really, most Americans wish he would fight this hard to help the forgotten men and women of America who are fed up with foreign wars and foreign causes, are going broke trying to feed their families, and are losing hope of ever achieving the American dream. That's what I voted for. I have supported President Trump with too much of my precious time, too much of my own money, and fought harder for him, even when almost all other Republicans turned their back and denounced him. And she also said, but I don't worship or serve President Trump. I worship God. Jesus is my savior, and I serve my district, GA 14, and the American people. I remain the same today as I've always been, and I will continue to pray that this administration will be successful because the American people desperately deserve what they voted for. She said, for me, I remain America first.
And you might be wondering how the GOP even cracked like this, how the whole wall they built around Trump finally snapped. Well, let me show you exactly where it started. And listen, I know a lot of you don't even like her, I get it, but this is the moment everything shifted. Their feud didn't begin over policy or principle. It began when she publicly called out the Trump administration for lying straight to the American people about grocery prices and acting like everyone was too dumb to notice. That was the spark. That was when she stopped playing along with their script. And trust me, they never forgave her for it. Because the second she pointed out the truth, the whole house of cards started shaking. Just watch this.
And so gaslighting the people and trying to tell them that prices have come down is not helping. It's actually infuriating people, because people know what they're paying at the grocery store. They know what they're paying for their kids' clothes and school supplies. They know what they're paying for their electricity bills. And so that approach does not work. We need compassion and show that we care about the American people, and show that we are in the trenches with them on what they're going through. That's first and foremost. You don't gaslight them, you don't lecture them, and you don't deny what's happening.
And here's where it gets interesting, because she didn't stop at calling them out on prices. No, she went nuclear. She released the actual texts she sent to Trump himself, putting everything on the table and forcing MAGA into a corner. She basically told them, pick a side. Either you stand with Trump and help him cover this up, or you stand with the truth, which, according to them, automatically makes you a Democrat. She gave MAGA a choice they never wanted to face: loyalty to one man or loyalty to the law. And the second she exposed those messages, the entire Trump orbit went into panic mode. They weren't prepared for someone from inside their own camp to call them out so openly, and now they're scrambling.
These are those text messages that she referenced in that tweet. You see those on your screen. One of those going to somebody named Natalie in her phone. It says, "In every single interview I have done, I have defended President Trump. I said over and over, the women say he did nothing wrong, and their attorney says he's the only one who helped. And the Democrats had 4 years to release the files, but did nothing. Stop ignoring the women. Many of them literally voted for President Trump and say so publicly. Them being raped as teenagers is not a hoax." She also attached this tweet addressed to someone labeled as DJT in her phone. It says that check the flight logs of Epstein's plane. Bill Clinton is on there like 26 times, Hillary too. For many of us, releasing the Epstein files has always been for the women who were victims of Jeffrey Epstein, but also because we believed that the Democrat bad guys like the Clintons were entangled and involved with him. Epstein was the spider that wove the web of the deep state. Lean into it. Again, Marjorie Taylor Greene is claiming that this was a text message that she sent to President Trump. She says she believes this is what sent him over the edge today, as he just announced he is withdrawing his support and endorsement for her. We're going to take...
And here's where things get really interesting, because I just got a video that flips this entire story upside down. A clip where Donald Trump, on camera, admits that he is one of the sexual predators. Folks, when you watch it, you'll understand exactly why the GOP is melting down, why MAGA Mike is hiding behind podiums, and why Trump is on Truth Social screaming like a man who knows the walls are closing in. Because once this clip circulates, everything they've been trying to bury, every file, every email, every excuse, suddenly makes perfect, terrifying sense. This is the moment the whole cover-up starts to crack open.
You know about sexual predators and things like that. Right. I mean,
you are one.
All right, I was going to say that, but it's true. You know about sexual predators and things like that. Right. I mean,
you are one.
All right, I was going to say that, but it's true.